Hello, and welcome back to a very special episode of InfoSec Whiskey. It's the middle of the day, so today we will probably likely not be drinking whiskey, but we will hang out. With us, we have Aldo Delgado. He's a good friend of mine, and we drink whiskey together anyways most of the time. But today I actually have been meaning to have this conversation with him for the last 2 years, and then you keep coming up with new projects, you brilliant bastard. But because you keep coming up with new stuff, I never have a time to talk to you about it because we're always hanging out with a bunch of friends, we're partying, we're doing stuff. So my thought was, we'll make it when I sit down and ask you these questions and sit down and see what you're working on, because I'm very interested. We'll do it in front of everybody else, and we can share your knowledge with the world, and everybody can see how fucking kick-ass you are. How's that sound?
That sounds great. I appreciate it.
So start out. Who are you, and what do you do?
So my name is Aldo Delgado from South Florida, and I do DevOps. I've been doing this for a little over 15 years now. Kind of gone full circle. Started my career in IT in co-locations, doing just basic rescues of servers. Got into networking and transitioned to software development around I'd say the 2020s to 2012. Sorry, and from there, right before COVID, I've always had this interest into information security, and I kind of went back, started getting some certifications, and then just kind of went full circle that way.
And what certifications are you sitting on right now?
So just I was going down the CompTIA route just to get something out of the way, because I've never gone through any like traditional training or schooling. Everything that I did was kind of self-taught. The closest that I think I ever got on training was really just my first job was really kind of showed me the ropes. And that was like my introduction to like Linux and, different networking hardware. And from there, everything was just like on-job training.
Oh, very cool. And what pulled you into cybersecurity? What made you interested in InfoSec? Like what sucked your ass into this?
I've always been interested in the whole lore of like, the hacking scene and whatnot. I always read different magazines growing up, 2600, Blacklisted 411, and Frack, and a couple others, and that always kept me engaged. But I didn't have that knowledge to understand a lot of the things that I was reading. So I would just kept trying to understand it and figuring it out. So in other words, I would expose myself. I'd force myself to go either to like the 2600 meetups or, I'd go into different IRC channels and kind of just stand in the background and read and see what people were talking about. And that was really what like hooked me into the scene of, what is, the hacker scene really. And then I kind of got into building a couple of always into phone stuff, phone freaking, and got into building a couple of different boxes, a beige box and a bud box, and I'd kind of mess around with stuff growing up with my friends.
What age were you talking about with cell phone freaking?
Oh man, I was I want to say 16. This is the late 90s, and what I would do is like I had a 100-foot 2-pair that I ran to my neighbor's house, clipped into their side box, and then I'd call 900 numbers and then make the phone ring inside, and it'd be kind of timed so that when he'd pick it up, the girl would be ready saying hello. And it was a bunch of fun until the following month when the bill came in, because I didn't think about that part. Yep. And so my buddy's mom found the wire. She came over. She had it in her hands and yelling at my father. And that was a fun story. It was a fun time. Nice. And so ultimately it was it was the late 90s. It was the movies were coming out. You had Hackers and Matrix and stuff, and that always kind of like just like kept me in it. But I never really had anyone to kind of to talk to about this, because my friends weren't really into it. They were into different things. So the only place that I could go and find people that were like-minded was like the 2600 meetups. Mm-hmm. And so that's really where I got like, I think my feet wet. And from there, it's always just been, growing.
Oh, that's cool. Like, look, for me, when you mentioned the 2600 meetups, and I tell a lot of people, because when it does come up, somebody goes, how do you even get into cybersecurity? How do you get into hacking? And I tell them, I was like, if you can find a conference, you could find a meetup, even if it's a lug, because there's lugs everywhere. And that's a great place to start, meeting the nerds of the type, and then you can go out from there. But the meetups has been incredibly beneficial for me. Even meeting up with somebody who I just mentioned an idea for a talk, and he's like, no, you're going to do it. I go, well, I'm thinking about it. He goes, no, you're going to put it down, and I'm going to check on you in a couple months, and you're going to submit it. I was like, okay, goodness. You know, like that. And I don't know how to put it. I find this community to be very welcoming to everyone. And most people are trying to support each other. You know, most of the time we want to help each other out. So I always tell the younger ones, like, just don't be afraid to step out into those groups. We're all a bunch of neurodivergent ADHD kids that have, you know, we found this focus because it does pull us out of our, just being focused and not accomplishing stuff, and you actually get challenges. But it's great that you brought that up, because I always tell everyone the same thing. It's great if you can find those groups.
Yeah, so, I completely agree. I mean, not to cut you off, but just to share really quick, I will say that is what really grounded me in my professional side. Going from 2600 to these meetups, learning and me getting to meet these people, and actually then extending that to having these online relationships that some of them I'm still friends with this day. But then to your point, conferences, that was super important to me. I actually was fortunate enough to go to a couple of conferences in not so much in the security space, but more in the career space of future of web apps and such, which really kind of that bloomed into what I do now, which is my DevOps.
Yeah, because you're mentioning the web apps that you're doing, and stuff that you're working on. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. The meat and potatoes, the whole reason we're here. I wanted to learn what your projects are right now. These web apps that you had mentioned to me. I've only got a little tertiary about it, but I would love to know what you're doing.
Well, so I got a couple of them. There's so I'm a big Twitter fan. I
really?
Love Twitter. Been on Twitter. What's that?
I said, really? I never noticed.
Yeah. Well, right. That's where we met initially, right? And so yeah, I've been on Twitter for a long time, and I love to meet people, but also I like to see how it works under the hood. I try to understand different things. I found all kinds of little bugs, and of course I've reported them, and a lot of them have been fixed. But I'm always exploring on the platform as they introduce different features. And so one that I've recently been working on, and it's kind of been shelved, and I've kind of gone back to it a couple times, is I have this alt account called Boomba. And it's always been an idea of mine to have kind of like when you're in a Zoom and you have your AI, bot account that's taking notes, summarizing and such. Similarly, Boomba can do that. Initially, it was just another application, another browser logged in with some audio routing tools, and it's come a long way from those early days to now, where it's a full Python WebRTC client that connects on its own. Has it's using a couple of different LLM models. One called the intent classifier, which is the routing. So it understands when it's being spoken to. It understands, I'm being asked a very complex question. Let me use this API call to OpenAI because I'm going to need, more information. Or it's small enough where, it's going to go local to my recently I just got a DGX Spark. So that's always been nice. So so now it's going to that. And so then it can do a couple other things, right? It can do some RAG to do some searching, and so that's been fun too. But that's been my little side project. Of course, last year, Cookie and I we submitted for the CTF at DEF CON, and that's been an ongoing project. So that is a web application riddled with misconfigurations and all kinds of flags hidden in the story of the CTF, along with some outside of the web page flags as well, right? So
I remember playing around with it a little bit. I really, dude, the way you use breadcrumbs as you're going, I just thought that was a very beautiful and clever way to do a CTF, because it gets you into a natural motion of what a pen test would be like.
Yeah,
it leads you. Yeah, and I think I'm just bragging on you a little bit. I'm just telling everybody that I really appreciated the CTF when I did get a chance to sit down and mess with it, because I like the natural flow of it and the little breadcrumbs you had.
I really appreciate it. All the credit can't go to me. Cookie definitely contributed tons to it. When we started, it's funny because Cookie and I met at the previous DEF CON. And we were just like ducks to water. We were able to work well with each other, and we decided we wanted to put something together for last year's DEF CON. And so when we did that, one of the things that I've always liked were those adventure books. I don't know if you remember them. Like, you turn to like page, so you start the book. And it's like, turn to page
675.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, it'd be nice if we can take, because there's a lot of advanced CTFs. I'm not saying that our CTF that we built is anything advanced. There is some advanced challenges in it, but it was definitely geared towards more of like the beginner, intermediary, and we wanted to take them along on like a story. And so the whole idea of it was like one of those adventure books, right? So you started off, there's 2 fashions, and so you choose your fashion, and you start following along on the story, and you're just, as you go discovering the different challenges, they add to the story that is that CTF. And so that was our other project, and you kind of revived it because after you reached out, I reached out to Cookie, and I was like, dude, we got to do it again. We got to like start fixing it and kind of giving it some life again. I was trying to get the original one up before this podcast. Unfortunately, I did not. I'm waiting on something from Cookie. So when he does get back to me, I will be putting it back up and leaving it until we do our next update. I figured that way people can get introduced with the platform and play around with it.
Yeah. And if you do get this online, where would people find it if they want to look at it?
So it's chassisparty.com. So that's CHASSIE. I'm sorry, party, PARTIE.com. So that's CHASSEPARTIE.com.
And that chassis party that's on Twitter, that's you as well, right?
That's correct. So,
okay, cool. So
the
they
main
can find
account
you at too, because I saw the link on there, and I looked at it a little bit earlier today. I clicked on it, and I noticed that it was.
Yeah, we didn't get it down. It was hosted on another cloud provider that we really enjoyed, but costs have gone up, and so we moved it. And so there's just a couple of things that I need to get from Cookie to make it live. So it'll be up relatively shortly, hopefully by the end of the week, definitely before the end of the year. And it'll be up until we do our next iteration. So yeah, it'll be exciting to allow you guys to play with it. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see how it times out. It'd be great. Like maybe when we post this, it'll be, we'll have it all set up.
Nice. Okay.
We'll stay in contact with you so we can maybe time it. That'd be terrific.
Okay. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Nice. I enjoyed it. It's DEF CON, and you're going to ask me to sit still for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So I got it in a few hours, and I'm like, I got to go do some stuff. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
But
so
it was a fun CTF.
There was some interesting things that we didn't get to complete 100%. So oddly enough, what ended up happening is we made the initial submission. DEF CON was planned to be in Siege's forums. However, that didn't happen for whatever reason. How what are the specifics? I don't know. But in any case, they had to scramble and look for a second venue. And they ended up landing on the LVC. And when they did, obviously, as you know, that venue's twice the size, if not more, than Siege's forums. So they had floor plan open up, and they reached out to a couple of the submissions that were made. We were one of them, and they asked if we'd be ready, if we'd like to partake, and so we did. And so we did have to scramble because when we heard back that we didn't get submitted, we kind of shelved it. Yeah. So as you go along, we have since updated a lot of the challenges, so those did get completed, but the more advanced challenges did not. And so if you were playing at DEF CON during that time, there was this part of the game that just didn't exist, and we didn't tell anybody it didn't exist.
Oh.
So we had people looking around and running around the conference trying to find these augmented reality treasures, and that part didn't exist.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
So sorry if you were one of them, because
I didn't get that far in it. Despite what you guys think, I'm a beginner. I'm still a beginner on a lot of this stuff. I'm
nah.
always been on the defense side of things more than I've been on the hacking side of stuff. And I just, that's comfortably where I kind of fell into.
So that's another part that was fun. Moving on from our CTF, we got to participate in. Man, I don't know how long they've been part of the Red Team Village, but they put on this like Rumble style CTF where it's attack and defense, kind of like 8-on-8. I'm sorry, 8-on-4. And it's an attack defense. You get some infrastructure such as like e-commerce website, Active Directory, so a couple other platforms, and you quickly have to set up your defenses, make sure your firewalls are on, and immediately start attacking the other teams. And our booth was right next to theirs the year that we put on our CTF, and that was the first one that we got to compete on because right there. It was awesome. It kind of worked. And I gotta say those are exciting stuff when you're doing the defenses, because you're watching like people hit the box live, and it's it's
instead of waiting on logs and reading those later.
Exactly.
And that's why I've always pushed the CCDC for different people. I keep saying it wrong. Colloquial Cybersecurity Defense Competition.
Sure.
So like it can be found national ccdc.org. And what that was is it was wild. I'm 30 years old, but because I was enrolled in school, because in the military, you basically have to be enrolled in school. You're not going to make rank. You got to get your education knocked out. So I show up and I was looking at them and I attended a meeting and they're like, well, the rules are you just have to be enrolled in school. So that's how you join a team. And I was like, all right, let's do this. The only problem I had with it's because, DOD, military head, Air Force head, as a mechanic, they dropped me in the middle of it and we're fighting the bad guys off the whole time. I'm trying to remember who was there. He used to be a CIA hacker. Now he's doing the circuits, but he was there and they burned our house down quick. And so we were doing a bunch of stuff to keep up and doing all this stuff. The only problem I had with the competition was like, it was like a 9 to 5. We start at 7 in the morning and you end at 6 in the afternoon. And I'm like, I'm still, let's do this, because I'm used to working on the flight line, crazy, stupid hours. But they're like, no, you can't do anything after this time. And I'm just like, oh, there's so much I could be doing right now. But it was a few days. It was so much fun. And even though I might have been the weakest person on not such a great team at the time, I'm sorry, South Dakota School of Mines, but I still had fun. I learned more in those few days than I did in years of doing stuff in a lab or reading books and things. And so I always push people into the CCDC. So it's kind of cool that they had one like that at DEF CON. And I would love to see one that's not, associated with the colleges, but just something you could do and, train people up, because that live, that's live range. Live ranges are amazing.
Yes. It's a different world, right? So like I had participated in a lot of CTFs prior to that one, where it's like a Jeopardy style board. You can go to ctftime.org, and you can find tons of different CTFs that you can participate in, whether you're not on a team or on a team. You can submit your team, and I've always felt like those are more like kind of stagnant challenges. What I mean by that, it's like you're going to be posed a question and then you're going to try to solve it. Whether it's, here's a binary, here's the question, there's something in the binary, or, here's a website, here's the challenge, and you're trying to find something that's misconfigured on the website. This is a little bit different because it's dynamic. It's like, okay, I'm going up against this team, and this team is going to, immediately, put up their firewalls. What version of their firewall they're using, what firewall are they using. So you're now probing at the same time as they're, putting up their defenses, or maybe there was a different strategy for the other team, but this is what we were doing. And so immediately we're probing, trying to get information, trying to get version numbers, looking at, what, vulnerabilities exist for these version numbers. And so it's dynamic. It's like you said, it's that live range. You're getting information in real time and you're having to react in real time. It's not like, you know what, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go grab a little snack and be back. That Jeopardy question for that CTF hasn't changed, right? Nothing has changed. But in these live ones, it's totally different. Like you can't even get up to go to the bathroom if you want. I mean, you can if you wanted to, but you're gonna miss everything. As you know, some of our friends, because we just spent Friendsgiving together. That first CTF that we participated on, there was some trouble between not our friendship, but these other guys, and one of them walked away, and it cost us the game. We ended up coming in second. They had a disagreement on how they should handle AD for a particular configuration file, and it's really comes down to seconds. Like you really got to make your decision and go with it. And we made the wrong one, so we lost our AD right at the last as we were coming up to the bell. But it was such a great experience. I really, recommend it for anyone, whether you have a team or don't have a team. You can find a team, to try it.
What's it called at DEF CON? What's it called?
So that's the Red Team Village Royal Rumble. If you go to the Red Team Village, I think it's .org, their site, they still have it. It's put on by this team of 4. I'm drawing a blank right now on the name. That sucks because the guys are super cool. I've had a couple drinks with them. Usually they go to Area 51 and put on a party. It's like the sponsor party after the competitions. And fortunately, we've been able to get tickets for both years. And these guys are awesome. They do this every year. It's definitely more advanced. It's not your beginner CTF. But if you're looking for that like live range and really test your skills, I definitely recommend it. It is awesome.
Now, it's kind of funny because I actually was going to ask you a question. If you're going to tell somebody how to get into cybersecurity, but we pretty much, that's what we're talking about the whole time. So
yeah, no,
if the question jumps off, that's usually why.
Yeah, look, this is, I don't do, the pen testing side of things. I've been adjacent to those teams. Like I said, my professional career is DevOps. So, anytime that we've gone to do any, compliance, whether it was ISO 27001 or, SOC 1, SOC 2, these are things where I have been a part of these other teams that were, doing the audits or, making sure that our policies were in order. So I've gotten to, talk to them and work with them very closely. Would I want to do it? Yes. That's the love. I do love the game. If someone were to make me an offer and I get a chance to be an offensive pen tester, yeah, I'd love it. But that's not what I do. So if anybody's looking to do it, there's so much insecurity. Like what I do, even though it's in DevOps, it's setting up infrastructure for different clients, and deploying and scaling their applications to meet certain requirements. That still involves security. It's part of what I do. You're setting up policies, you're setting up, different access controls for different either services or APIs or, users. So you're always going to be in the realm of security. And I'd say that if that's what you like, there are ways to get in, right? Like there's definitely, you can expose yourself, with the beginner stuff, and work your way up. So yeah, there's tons of different ways to get into it. Mine just happened to be through data centers. I was really just a crash cart kid. Like that's in the early 2000s. I rolled around the data center with a crash cart, manually restarting servers. And I did that for a while until I met a dude that showed me the ropes. I was, script kiddie. I was doing bash scripts and, working with the redhead stepchild Pearl. And, I had all kinds of scripts that I've had, collected and would use. But eventually I was like, I want to like really get into software development. And so this guy really like, I owe him a lot, but we did have a falling out at the end. That's I'll tell you that story real quick. But in the beginning, what ended up happening was I worked the graveyard, that was like the night shift, and he put on a meetup every 2 weeks. His I won't say his name, but you can find him. He's Miami PHP. That's what his meetup was, and so he I would open up the data center for him. We had a big lab area. This is in downtown Miami, and so I'd open up. He'd come in, and after a couple, I'd say like 2 months, we had like a fishbowl. The knock was like two sides were all glass, and I would just be there by myself, just watching the monitors. And this is the early 2000s, so I had a BlueBerry, and so he came up and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come in, man? You love this stuff. If you're not doing much." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So I came in, and that day, it's coincidentally talking about Twitter. That day, they were working on a project. They were calling it telephony, and they were using the Max Say program to read out to connect to Twitter, so that when someone posted on someone's wall, it would say whatever the post was, like, "Hey, look what I'm eating," because that's what it was at that time. And so I ended up actually creating my account. So whatever the date is on my creation was that coincides with me in this date.
Oh, I got you.
And so we end up talking, and he ends up, as the meetups go on, introducing me into like CodeIgniter, Cake PHP, and all these different PHP frameworks. And so I start getting into it heavy. I start learning what like all these design patterns were, like model view controller, and so that's really where my software development and web application or web, starts taking off. So I ended up leaving the data center and I started working for him. He had a small little dev shop, and got heavier into PHP, and I really liked Cake PHP. And I ended up getting an opportunity to go to the Cake PHP conference when they were launching 3.0. This was in San Francisco,
and just to make sure, Cake PHP is the boilerplate, right? You can build websites off of.
Correct. So it's a framework. It's the boilerplate framework that you're going to build applications off of, and it is it's a framework that follows a paradigm called model view controller. So the idea is that you have views that are the HTML pages or partials that make up of what the web page is. You have the controller, which acts as like a dispatcher. So when you call an endpoint, that figures out like you're calling users. Users have an index, and so that's the all, right? It's like you're getting all the users, and that's just like a simple one, right? But then you have the models, and that's like the database extraction there for the database, right? So you're going to use whatever database you want, MySQL, Postgres, Mongo, whatever, and then this layer will do all of like your sanitation, your validations. Maybe you want to concatenate two words because you're ingesting CSV and you want that to be one when it goes in the database. So this is where you put all that kind of business logic. So the terms that they say were skinny controllers, fat models, and that always stuck to me because you want your models skinny, I think, right? I don't know, maybe like that. But the idea is that you'd put all the business logic inside to the models. And so I start programming for this guy. I level up quickly. He sends me out to San Francisco, and I get to meet Larry Masters. He's the guy that put the framework together, and I met his team. So this is Cake PHP 2.5. So it's got to be like, I don't know, 08, 07. No, it's a little bit more than that maybe. And so I start talking to the team, and I'm like, "Man, where are you getting all these ideas?" And so we're at the bar, and the guys are just giving it all up. And one of them goes, "Well, so there's this other framework called Ruby on Rails." And my ears just perked. I'm like, "Oh, what is that?" All right. So I get back home from the conference, start looking at Ruby on Rails, left PHP. I was like, "All right, I'm done. I love Rails. What is this?" And there's something there on that side of the house with that language. Because PHP wasn't really this, even though Ruby and PHP Yeah, even though Ruby and PHP are very similar in terms of those are procedural languages, um, you can do a lot more in the Ruby world than you can in the PHP world. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of slack for that. But
That's fine. I know the wars. It's fine.
yeah.
But yeah, one
yeah, go
question
ahead.
I was going to have though, if somebody wanted to get into Ruby on Rails to get into this, what do you have a good book to help somebody? Like I'm say I'm starting out with nothing, right? You know, I know how to run servers, that it, and I wanted to get into this and learn some of it. What's a good starting point? A good book?
So Ruby on Rails .org is a great resource. Another one is anything by 37 Signals. I know people are going to kill me for that too. So DHH is the guy that created, him and his team created Basecamp and all the wonderful products that they've built. You know, Campfire, High Five. What was it? No, not High Five. It's the CRM one. I forget the name of it. But those were all really good products. To this day, I still use Basecamp for one of my older clients. They love it. They won't move away from it. So 37 Signals is a team. That's the company. And they have a podcast as well. They have a book called Rework. Great book. It's actually about how you should disconnect from technology. I tend to agree with a lot what they say, but at the same time, I consider myself a little bit different because this is what I eat, sleep, and breathe. Like, this is not only my career, it's my hobby. Like,
well, it's not like we don't know any hackers or InfoSec people that are now becoming farmers.
Yes.
I find that very interesting that retirement rate to farmer is so many. And I think it's just that because you're inundated with the technology all the time. And it's just over, and it gets to all of us. And it's just that I'm done with it. I don't want to, but a lot of them usually end up come back and mentoring every now and then, but it's just, they'll always go back out to the farm. I found that very interesting. Like what you're saying with it's called Rework. You said the book was?
Yeah, Rework. Exactly.
Yep. I'll look at that. So maybe I can just, sip it a little bit to get away for every now and then.
Yeah. So for me, and you're right. There's something to be said there with that, right? Like the whole idea of where, you've been in the industry for 20 plus years, you're burnt out and you just kind of want to disconnect. And so going to the farm, but with what you said, the follow-up was that they come back a mentor. And I think that's so well, because when you teach, at least this is what I feel. And I feel this more and more as I now kind of transition to this different part of my life where it's like, as I introduce things to people and I'm teaching them, I'm trying to deliver this piece of information that's really put together in my head, or at least this mental model, right? And so when I try to get this across, it may not be delivered or received the way I'm expecting it. And so that really shows like, hey, did I really understand the topic or subject that I'm trying to get across? Because maybe I didn't, right? Maybe I had this idea of it, but ultimately I need to sharpen that. And so, there's something there that I kind of touched on the other day in some spaces that I was in, and you just hit it. But yeah, I also see that a lot of these guys are, I was just talking to one recently in a space that he's up in upstate of Florida, and he just retired, and he's not that older than me. And I was like, oh shoot, man, am I missing something here? But that's cool.
All right. Well, I really enjoyed this conversation, and I really enjoyed Chassis Party. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, to get maybe some people, even if you don't do it, have it to this year. That last one was still fun. It was still a lot of fun.
No, we are definitely doing it. Okay. We are already in the talks. Actually, some of our mutual friends are now helping us on the project. So I will guarantee you it will be up before the end of the year. And like you said, if we can get it coincided to the podcast, it'd be awesome. But just keep an eye out, because it'll definitely be coming back to DEF CON, and it's gonna be a lot of new stuff that we're gonna introduce.
I will say this, I love our hacker friends. I really do.
Yes,
but after hanging out and helping people with the stuff around their house, I'm like, I am considering giving hackers a woodshop class.
Yes. Oh my gosh, dude. I'll take that for another day.
Y'all are brilliant, but come on.
It's amazing. You can meet some really smart people, and they just don't know how to hold a hammer.
It's just what it is. It's what we are. It's what a lot of us are. You know, my autism is aircraft, so I go hard in the paint on aircraft. But other stuff, I'm like, I'm sorry. I gotta learn. But I just think the opportunity isn't always there for people. After that, and I know I did say this, but I was like, it wouldn't be a bad idea at a conference to literally have.
Oh, 100%. No, actually, I think it's a good. I thought it was a great idea when you suggested it. I didn't think you were messing around at all. It's so like you people never think it's like, oh, but they're good critical thinkers, or look at what they do. They're working on these huge infrastructures and they're able to make all these changes. That specific person works for one of the bigger companies, right? And so you think like this is normal. They can do this, and we're talking about really just. All right, I'll share a little bit. It was installing a Wi-Fi access point. There was some wall hardware that needed to be done, and the access point was not an issue. It was the wall, the drywall, cutting the drywall, mounting the bracket to that was the issue. And so, yeah, there is a big disconnect. I think that people really get inundated into their subject and their field, and then really got that they're disconnected from that other side, which is just like the practical, like, hey, I need to mount this. Is it weight bearing? So yeah, I'd support that. I'd like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. It'd be fun. We might hold a wood shop class at DEF CON.
Yeah, they got the space.
Yeah, they do. Well, we could actually set up stuff for people, like build all things out. But man, it's been really good talking to you. But I do have one really important question for you.
What's that?
So if you were fighting off Genghis Khan's Mongolian horde, what weapon would you choose to fight them off with? You can use everything up to modern day.
Interesting. So they were doing blitz. So what would I do? Man, if I can, I'm gonna go a little fantasy here, but I kind of feel like they were rolling around on their horses, really going strong into these lands. Something to the effect of...
Well, if you recall, because you said the Blitz, the way they did their strikes, they thought their numbers were like 6 or 7 times more, because they would hit, retreat. And even sometimes when they retreat, they would draw the other people out to chase them, and they just close in on them. Like that was their tactics. So
I don't know. I kind of feel like something, it would be a combination. I'm flooding. I don't know. They're...
You have one weapon. It could be one weapon or one weapon system. Think about that.
One weapon system. Jeez. I don't know, man. I would say...
You got to answer something.
Got to answer something, right? Okay. This sucks. Shit. I'm drawing a blank here, man. In my head, I'm like saying things, and then I'm like, no, that wouldn't make sense. I don't know, man. Drones. Drones. Simple. Get a swarm.
Yeah. And that way, it's your destruction is also tight. I'm thinking first, I go Fallout. I'm like, yeah, A10 Warthog. There you go. They're done.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
But then you're tearing up everything else around, and if they're too close to your side, you got problems. But I think drones is a good answer. It's a better answer than what I had.
Well, man, so I've been looking at the swarms. I don't know if you've seen what China did recently.
With I've seen the light show stuff. I haven't seen the attack swarm stuff.
So the light show is really awesome. And they recently tested some attack ones in a swarm style. Obviously a lot bigger than the light shows.
New technology being turned into a weapon. That's unheard of.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. Drones is definitely top of mind. It's something that I think with now the growth and explosion of AI and these LLMs, that can get really scary quickly.
Oh, real quick, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, thanks for having this conversation with me.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
And I promise people, usually we get people on here and we get drunk together. Chassie and I have already done the background work. We pre-worked it. We've gotten drunk together multiple times. So I promise you, the work is still there.
Definitely.
All right, everyone.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Take care.